Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on this wonderful Wednesday for another YouTube video. I'm doing a lot of traveling today, so I thought I would just put out a very interesting video, certainly a video that I believe many of you that are new to the crypto space are going to find very interesting, where we take a look at the crypto space as a whole. And right at the start of the video, I'm going to be answering a question that I think many people fail to answer. Certainly, when we talk about what is the value proposition of investing in the crypto space today, I'm going to be answering that. And there is only really one answer for this. That is a very big claim and a wide question to answer. But we're going to summarize why investing in crypto today has a huge value proposition attached to it. And there is only really one answer. But quickly, before I get into that, we're going to outline what I'm going to go into in this video. I'm going to be doing a little bit of bragging, but this is for a reason. This is a video I made last December before Bitcoin in 2020, when I was talking about the fact that the 4-year cycle theory is repeating. And we're going to talk about the 4-year cycle theory. We're going to talk about the lengthening cycle theory. We're going to talk about where we are today currently with Bitcoin and why this is nothing to worry about. Whenever we have a pullback in the crypto space, you get those same people popping up, those doomsday preppers, if you will. And I'm not hating on people that are prepping for doomsday. What I'm doing here is I'm going to try and show you that things are actually very normal and that this is a extremely volatile asset class, and pullbacks like this are part of it, and they are designed largely to shake you out of the market. But really what I'm going to do as an opening statement, we are going to jump into Plan B stock to flow as well, ladies and gentlemen, because he's predicting a 98k Bitcoin by the end of November. Now, I don't believe this is based on the actual stock to flow. I think this is his floor model. He goes off 3 models. I like Plan B. I'm going to work on doing a stock to flow for a number of other cryptos. You guys know that I'm heavy into altcoins, more so now than Bitcoin. I think they have a far higher value proposition in terms of investing in them today than something like Bitcoin does, as I think there's more use cases for them. Bitcoin really only has, certainly as it stands at the moment, we know that this is evolving into becoming more of a useful protocol. Its main use is being a peer-to-peer value transitional system. But really, I want to answer this, and this is going to hopefully, this is a lifetime chart of Bitcoin. We've got since 2010 here, so 2 years out, but that wasn't because things were charted. Bitcoin in the early days was done on spreadsheets and such things like that. But I want to answer this question. So people are looking at this market and they're going, things are quite high right now. Why are we expecting Bitcoin, crypto? We're focusing on Bitcoin because the entire market follows Bitcoin to go up in value. I'm going to tell you, this is the value proposition with crypto, and that is usability. That is adoption. The main value proposition for Bitcoin and crypto is adoption. What do I mean by that? Well, I would argue that it's a very small percentage of the world's population that actually holds crypto. It's an even smaller, a percent of that percent, that actually use it. And just like the internet when it first came around, it started off very slow. It was a few kind of tech nerds that really started getting into it. And nowadays everybody uses it, whether they like it or not. Anybody that has a phone, we know that there's quite a lot of the world population actually that is unbanked and they're not connected to the kind of global system of the internet. But this is changing with crypto, so there's a huge value proposition there. But I'm arguing that just like the internet and the dawn of that and the stocks that came out of it, like your Amazons, and we've shown you on a number of occasions that Bitcoin is very much following Amazon in terms of from a chart perspective, blockchain and the cryptos to come out of it are going to grow in value due to usage and adoption. And as we see blockchain, as we are already seeing, but it's very slow to start, and then it will be like a floodgate that opens, as we see more and more adoption take place and it being implemented and enrolled into our everyday life, the value is going to go up. And that's what this chart really represents. Back here, very few people used it. 2013, of course, we know there's various websites that you could get on that you could use it. And then 2017 came along, and now we're really starting to see the implementation of it. We're going to talk about quite a lot. So I hope that is the main value proposition with Bitcoin, is that it's yet to be truly adopted. And the main value proposition with crypto as a whole is that it's yet to be really used. And that's coming. And that is going to have demand drives price. Typically, we know in this weird and wonderful world that we live in, where the money printer goes brr, a lot of the time, markets don't make a lot of sense. We've seen that certainly in relation to what happened in May in regards to Bitcoin. I was telling you throughout this entire dump, when you had people screaming at me for a bear market, calling me all the names under the sun, saying I was trying to mislead people. It is a hungry shepherd that misleads his flock. Now, I'm not calling anybody. I'm not saying I've got a flock. I'm just saying, that's not a wise way to go about things in the world. All the on-chain metrics were screaming buy here, and that's because we saw a huge uptick in whales buying, smart money buying, etc., etc. That Wyckoff distribution at the top here and accumulation. Very well pointed out. Unaccomplished, I think it is. I can't quite remember the name of the guy, but what a discovery that he made in regards to that. Certainly was the first person to bring it public on YouTube. So that is the main value proposition, is that crypto is still very early in its adoption curve. And this is going to come, this is going to increase, and that's why we have charts like the Bitcoin Liquid Coin Index that look like this, which is just a continuous growth. What you're essentially witnessing here, charts are weird and wonderful. They oftentimes don't make any sense, but what you're essentially looking at right here on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, is the adoption of Bitcoin and the uptick in it. And this is going to continue, in my opinion. Crypto is the new thing. I'm not going to talk about my book in this one. I like to kind of drop the book that I've not yet written, talking about potentially what's coming down the road for crypto and how there may be quite a few bumps in that road. But we'll get into that in another video. So that was really, when people are looking at this market, that is the value proposition, that there's still an adoption that needs to take place here that hasn't yet. And it's even less so for altcoins. Certainly some altcoins are getting used. One reason I'm so into altcoins, certainly your smart contract altcoins like Cardano, even Ethereum, I think Ethereum is going to do very well, is simply due to the fact that they have more usability. There can be... they have an extra layer of capability, which is why Ethereum was created, because they essentially looked at Bitcoin and said, look, let's add something to this. Let's allow this protocol to do something more than have a accurate immutable ledger. Let's actually write smart contracts and make smart contracts a thing. And there's going to become a huge usage on top of the underlying value proposition of it, being a ledger to come from that. So I hope that's not too complicated. That's the real value proposition. Yesterday I bought more crypto. I instructed a lot of my family members, and some of them gave me a bit of flack this morning, saying, oh, well, why didn't you time the market perfectly? I'm an investor at the end of the day, guys. There's a reason I only trade with 5% of my portfolio, because I don't want to be like those people. Everybody acts like a trader when we have these dips. The bottom line is, if you hold, you'll be fine. Not financial advice. It's just a tried and proven method. This is a video that we made last December. Me looking a little bit younger then, a lot less stressed out. Where I'm talking about Bitcoin going to $100,000 in 2021. We got $100,000 by looking at the last bull cycle, where Bitcoin 20x'd, and prior to that at 100x. So there's a law of diminishing returns. We're going to talk about all this because people are saying, oh, how is this bull run going to end? The main theory is that we end 2021, and I've been a huge proprietor to this theory. It's what allowed me to invest throughout the bear market, that we're going to end 2021 in a similar way to how we ended 2017, and prior to that 2013. I'll bring up this exact chart. This chart hasn't changed since I made it, by the way, guys. I just don't use this. Have to find another Bitcoin chart every time I want to use something. And essentially we end in this kind of parabolic fashion towards the end of the year. Now, as much as I'm a fan of this theory, everybody's talking about it. Everybody has this in mind. Everybody's planning on taking profits at the end of the year. Now, in that respect, it might become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But in another, we followed 2017, and we have done still really very accurately. But ultimately, there's been a few spanners in the works, like May, for example. Typically in 2017, we only really had, I think, 43% was the biggest pullback. This kind of had everyone a little bit on the ropes. And ultimately, I think there's going to be spanners put in the works in regards to how we're going to end this year in this cycle. I am actually a lot more leaning towards the lengthening cycle theory. A number of reasons for this. There's fundamental reasons, like the fact that we have some institutions involved now that will bring that floor up, so perhaps we don't see that 95% pullback. But remember, markets, what I'm trying to do here is give you guys a number of possibilities of how this cycle may play out. Reassure you, like I've done at the start, that look, this is timing your entry. You're not going to get it, nobody gets it perfect. Yes, of course, if you're looking for an entry, wait for a big pullback, wait for a pullback. But you're never going to time the bear and bull market perfectly. And everybody's saying, look, we're going to go into a bear market at the end of this year. I don't know if I can see that happening. If everybody's saying, it's like Twitter. Twitter is one of the most eye-opening. I'd never used Twitter prior to me obviously getting the channel. If you want to follow me, guys, it's @RealAllInCrypto. Bit of self-promotion there. But essentially, it's eye-opening because everybody on there is a genius, or apparently so. Now, that's not how the world works. You guys know that better than anybody. in relation to the fact that, you know, you probably get a good sense that not everybody that you know is extremely smart and intelligent and has a crystal ball and can see into the future. I certainly don't. What I do is I've had skin in the game. You know, I've been here for nearly 5 years. Crypto is increasingly becoming my life, my passion, and you know it's something that I love, and I love to get on here and talk to you guys about it. But back to what I was saying, I'm not sure that we end in this kind of 2017-esque fashion. We're going to need what drove 2017 and the end of it in 2013 was FOMO, retail FOMO. We're going to need to see, and I'll put it on this chart where I've not got my. In fact, I can use this chart. I think we're going to need to see that retail FOMO take place. Let's get the volume so that you guys can actually see what we're talking about here. Because 2017 and 2013 was driven pretty much solely by retail at the end. Isn't it funny how in these bear markets you see these big, huge spikes? But you can see the huge uptick in volume. This is retail FOMOing into the market. And for this to take place again at the end of this year, which we're very, very close to, we're going to talk about Plan B stock to flow in a second, you're going to need to see that same retail FOMO take place. This could literally be a news event, a legislation. There could be something that triggers this. It could be, you know, something like, I don't know, a really famous celebrity coming out and saying that, who knows, guys, although there's been quite a few of them that have done that. But you're going to need to see that FOMO ensue. Now, it's going to have to be a little bit of institutional FOMO in the sense that it's a lot higher. This is where you get the whole law of diminishing returns thing, because the more the higher the market cap is, the more money's needed to move it. And the idea is that retail don't necessarily have that capacity. It's got to come from institutions. So we need to see that. Certainly Google searches is a good thing to look at, because Bitcoin's not really high up and how to buy crypto isn't really high up on that yet. I think maybe how to buy Doge and Shiba are, which is why you see these huge great point actually in regard to the parabolic movement that you see. We've seen it with Doge and Shiba. That's your FOMO that you're witnessing. We need to see that for Bitcoin. Focusing on Bitcoin, this is applicable to your altcoins. This is the total money in crypto. Very much is similar to the Bitcoin chart, and this is obviously all the money in the crypto space as a market cap. It just looks and follows Bitcoin. So your altcoins will just follow Bitcoin. This is something that's going to decouple over time. I'm trying to get lots of different points in here, certainly to people that are new to the crypto space, to perhaps give you an idea of how things work here. So I'm not really sure that we actually have this year end. I had a cash out plan, certainly for some of my altcoins, my more speculative altcoins that have done very well, to get out at the end of the year. I do happen to think that cycles are lengthening. Now this is back to our Bitcoin life cycle. You can see it 4 years very clearly here. What I'm going to show you is now going to come on. You know, this was your first year, or 4 years, 4 years. This actually wasn't 4 years, so it's only really done it once per se, but it has topped out in accordance with a year end prior. So there is, you know, as much as there is evidence for it, there's also kind of not, in the sense that it's only really played out once. Now, what I've done here is these are the prior cycles. So from top to top, in relation to the lengthening cycle theory, things lengthen. So from the first cycle is smaller than the second and smaller than the third, and I'm guessing it's going to be smaller than the first. Typically, we see these trends continue. This, of course, is the first cycle. What I've done here, somebody asked me how I got this. Go on TradingView. You want to use Brave New Coin Liquid Index for Bitcoin. This is typically the longest Bitcoin chart that I've found. If there's a longer one, let me know, guys. And then what I want you to do is essentially take a bar pattern, which you can find on this tab here, guys. Bar pattern will essentially copy the bar pattern and then overlay it. So from cycle top to cycle top, or the start of the cycle, and you can see what you've got here. And obviously you've got the current cycle that we're in. Let me play around with this so you guys can see it more accurately. So you can see the current cycle that we're in is obviously in the normal TradingView colors. And this is the first cycle, second cycle, third cycle, and we're currently in the fourth. We were actually above the third cycle previously, but what you can see is your time period is lengthening, and I would argue that this one's going to do the same thing. I think we top out between 100 and 150k potentially, and that's if we don't go into a super cycle, which is absolutely possible. And this is the thing: there's nobody actually. People tell you that they know what they're talking about and they know how this is going to end. The short and curlies are of it is that nobody actually really knows until it happens, and you can. What this video is doing is it's hopefully getting you guys to think on a deeper level about multiple things, about crypto as a whole, We've given you that nice little cushion before we went into, look, you guys are going to have to kind of work out if you want to take profits this year, when you're going to do that. But ultimately, over time, you're going to be fine, even if you want to hodl. And just dollar cost averaging works for crypto. It really does, because you mitigate everything over a period of time. Certainly, dollar cost averaging to date's worked in relation to the total too, and Bitcoin up until recently, because you could have bought at any point and you'd have essentially been in the green. And if you'd have done that over time, and I think this is a trend that's going to continue. So cycles are lengthening. This kind of maybe puts the 4-year cycle theory and certainly contradicts the 4-year cycle theory. We do have a law of diminishing returns. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that perhaps, like me calling for 100k Bitcoin back in December last year, the title reads Bitcoin to 100k in 2021 ! Brackets, not clickbait, must watch, do not miss out, ! Brackets. The reason we got 100k was really because we said, look, you're kind of depleting by a number of 5. So 100x in 2013, 20x in 2017. A 5x would be good in where we are today. Now, it could go much higher than that, but what I'm trying to do here is give you guys a number of ways that this plays out. And there are 2 main theories. The super cycle theory is a lot less pushed, but it could be that we do have something like that. So in regards to me cashing out, certainly my speculative altcoins I'm going to be cashing out. I'll probably be cashing out some Bitcoin, see where we are at the end of the year, and then ultimately I think altcoins are going to top out, even if we follow the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory into next year, because they do typically do that. Bitcoin's correlated before the year end, and then altcoins top out later. You can see here, I'll show you guys another time, but essentially altcoins will top out later than Bitcoin. Altcoins topped out. If you look at this second peak for Bitcoin, they really topped out here in January. So Bitcoin topped out here in December, altcoins topped out later. You can go and check that for yourselves if you don't believe me. I always show them something on the charts. I put it right in front of them, and they go, oh, this is FUD. It's like yesterday we spoke about the fact that institutions are still buying crypto. Institutions are buying things like Cardano, and I showed you this by CoinShare, and people were going, that's not true. It's FUD. And I'm like, well, take that up with CoinShare, who have a legal obligation to be to tell the truth, essentially. So things look good on a short-term time frame. You just had a pullback. Pullbacks are part and parcel of crypto. It's very, very volatile. If you go and look at some of the early .com stocks, they all potentially mimic the volatility that you're seeing today. We can do all sorts of things. We can put up Fibonacci retracement tools in relation to this move. Okay, that is not a Fibonacci retracement tool. We can put Fibonacci retracement tools up until some of the points. Now, this isn't my setup for a Fibonacci, but it will do. This is just the basic trading view Fibonacci, where we look at levels that we retrace to. Most people that talk about Fibonacci's, they don't actually know where Fibonacci retracement comes from. Fibonacci is a really old theory, I think the 1300s or something, that predicts that in nature, there's these numbers that keep reoccurring, and they've applied that to the chart. So they're a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy because everybody uses them. They'll take profits at certain levels and stuff like that. So in regards to the move that we've just made, typically in an uptrend, you don't want to go below the 0.5, which is your sort of halfway mark. You look good, guys. To be confirmed that we're going to kind of start moving to the upside, if we see something like this, a retest off this level here, we're looking for continuation. You are still in an uptrend for Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. We've just seen a pullback. People are throwing all manner of reasons at this. Like the infrastructure bill that doesn't come into effect till 2024, 23, or whenever it is. But it's typically what's happening in these markets is you have big players manipulating it. That a blind man can see that these markets are manipulated. It's very, very obvious. Why wouldn't they? They have the capital to do it, and they can extract money from these markets. So I'm still expecting more continuation in this bull run. I don't think it's finished or anything like that. How high we go is really anybody's guess. A safe bet is 100k this year, which is a 40% increase, I believe. I've said that, but let's double triple check that, because somebody in the comments will tear me up for that. So that's a 65% increase. Bitcoin can do this in a month. Bitcoin can do this in less than a month. Bitcoin can do this in a couple of days. Now, this is going to lead me on to Plan B, stock to flow. I'm going to take this off. This is just a draw. Very interesting. The Crypto Sniper had pointed this out, that this could be some of the structure that we're setting up. Crypto Sniper, by the way, is one of the most underrated YouTubers. He's not a YouTuber, really. The most underrated crypto commentators that there are. This guy has been right, and again, not just in the crypto markets, but in traditional markets. So he's definitely well worth watch if you're looking for YouTubers of actually some credibility. He's suggesting that you're in this kind of ascending wedge, ready to pop out the upside. And things could lull about for a bit. And this kind of matches up with, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but things kind of match up with the fact that we are lengthening and we might not see what everybody's expecting. And that's for us to, go vertical from now until the end of the year. Now, if we look at Plan B, stock to flow, 98k Bitcoin by the end of November. Oh, I would not like to be this guy. I know what it's like to make calls on publicly, and when they don't come off, people are very unforgiving. And what they seldom forget is that nobody predicts this market with 100% accuracy. And one thing we have been 100% accurate though on is the direction. Going back to this video, doing a bit of gloating to family and friends, I've been saying this for nearly 4 years now, and I have people that in the Discord that I have, the links in the description, that will actually attest to that. So 98k is a bold claim. I don't think this is based on the stock. I think this is based on his floor model, which is where he thinks the floor of Bitcoin kind of is. Is that possible? Is that a possibility? Let's take a look, guys. Leaving the draw tool on again. Bloody hell. So for us to go from where we are today currently to 98k. Is around about, let's say for argument's sake, a 62% move. What, in 14 days? Well, is this possible? One of the best ways to test if this is possible and to get an idea is, have we done that prior? Let's take a little look. This move here was 12 days. 11 days, and that was 55%. Recently, though, guys, we made a pretty similar move. Now, obviously, in kind of less time, in more time, sorry. So 15 days, 43%. But, it's absolutely... This stock to flow model, I think it has been slightly out before, but anything, above 90k, I'm giving him that, So it is possible that we do see this. If we do see this, this is probably going to cause a bit of FOMO into people thinking that we are going to end in a similar way to 2017 and follow the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory. I just happen to not think that things are going to play out the way that everybody does. It could. We'll see signs of that. You will see that parabola in the chart very, very clearly. You'll see that in Google searches. You'll see it in a number of metrics. And we'll come on here and say, look, guys, if you're looking to take profits, may not be a bad time. But if you're looking to hold, I have some altcoins. Cardano, for example, was a coin that I was actually planning on getting out of my position, or certainly some of it, keeping about 25% in. I'm now going to play, certainly as a stake pool operator, for those of you who are into Cardano and looking for a pool to stake to. We do have the ALLIN crypto pool. We certainly minted a block last time. It's a very new pool, but we are looking for delegators. I think I'm in a net accumulate game with that. I believe that in the same way we said the value proposition for Bitcoin is, and crypto as a whole, is the fact that it's going to continue to get adopted. I think Cardano is going to play a huge role in the move in the world that we are moving towards. Certainly in the undeveloped world that we are moving towards, the fourth industrial revolution, whatever you want to call it. So that is all I have for you in this video. Hopefully you haven't been left more confused than you were at the start in relation to crypto where it is. Take a look at these charts. This is the Brave New Coin Liquid Index for Bitcoin. Go and map out your 4-year cycle theory like we did very unknowingly back at the end of last year. And we've been spot on today. I mean, Bitcoin here was $17,000. You'd have loved that opportunity. If only you had subscribed back then. I think this video... it got 127 views and 14 likes. That was probably all my family liking it. So, it goes to show. So I'm going to love and leave you on that note, guys. Hopefully you found this content entertaining, useful, and enjoyable. Not too boring. It's just a different video. Sometimes I like to switch things up. We do a lot of Cardano videos because we're just so zealous and in love with that project. But we do like to look at the markets as a whole. And ultimately, your cryptocurrencies with any kind of worth, any kind of real fundamentals and use case are going to do very well over time due to the fact that crypto right now, very small percentage of the world's population actually own it, and an even smaller percent of that percent actually use it in a day-to-day basis. And it's going to become implemented in the same way that your mobile phone is connected to the internet, which was the internet revolution. And prior to that, you had the computer revolution, the PC revolution, which is, things tie in and these things get adopted over time, and value really comes from that. All I have for you in the video, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next YouTube video.